Welcome to this Perceptive Readers Podcast. Hi, I'm James Lynch.
Perceptive Readers Podcast. This is part 2 of Considering Whatever It Takes.
Doing whatever it takes? Or is there an exception to that statement? Hi, I'm James Lynch and welcome to this Pock Books Update moment. Let me start off by saying that it is wonderful to see people giving encouragement and trying to continue to help everyone to deal with whatever it is that they are, experiencing in their life. And also celebrating with them at times for their triumphs and, of course, other things that happen in life. Now, in order to make it in this world and in the game of life, sometimes persons will tell you, and you're raised this way depending on your parents or things that you pick up on your own, that you have to do whatever it takes to make a success of yourself. And along with those thoughts, you heard me ask before, well, what do you define as success for you? Because what you define as success for you can be giving you all the fulfillment in the world and even peace of mind. And yet another person who is made up in a different way may view that as, that's kind of a low goal to set, isn't it? Even though it's not a low goal at all for you, because it gives you the fulfillment, even the spiritual growth that, if you will, to continue along the lines or the pattern that you have. So you have to decide that for yourself. Now, with that thought also in mind, let's continue along the statement of doing whatever it takes. There are people, I referenced the way that, people are raised in their different backgrounds and a culture, that by the time they reached anywhere from 16 to 18 years of age already, they knew that the skies was the limit, no matter what skin color, you see, no matter with different physical difficulties that they may have or sicknesses or what have you, they still learned the ways to adapt the circumstances that they needed to in order to, progress in whatever their endeavors was. They realized in modesty certain things that just wouldn't fit towards their skill set, no matter how much they may try. But they learned what brought joy to their hearts and continued to pursue something in another avenue. All right. However, no matter what you decide in your life that you want to do, okay, are there basically principal reasons where you can actually give it your all, except but when it comes to this area? See, that's what I want to talk about. Being positive, you still know there is an exception. There are exceptions at times. And guess where those exceptions come from? Well, let's talk about assuming and presuming. You see, if a person presumes something, it is sometimes because they really feel they've seen enough evidence, you see, to say, hey, I can go ahead and do this. This person wouldn't mind. Now, to assume something, from what I understand, because I looked it up the other day, it's almost like you don't even really have a reason to think that, but you just assume it anyway or what have you. But I find that interesting altogether with the way that, I've always viewed it. But I do know, as I said again, about presuming and presumption and also presumptuousness you see. For example, I'll use the military. There was a rank structure, and you have all the way from privates all the way up to the officers. And so basically it meant that no matter what your goals may be in that type of structure, there is a rank over you that you would just have to answer to on certain things, certain decisions, you see. And so in real life, with people and their faith and spirituality, they realize there is a grand one even above them, you see, that when they read their holy books, and in this case, I'm referencing the good book or the Holy Bible, they see where God says, look, I've given you everything in this area, and you can enjoy it. You can have dominion over this. You can be a caretaker over that. However, if I have this person or this group assigned specifically for this, then don't you overstep that at all, you see. And so it's the same thing. That's why I use the example of the military structure. You see, there are things that you have control over and conscious decisions for yourself. However, there are certain areas, and you've heard me talk about this, that God has designated to certain ones. Now, some people may say again, in their presuming or maybe even assuming that, well, isn't it obvious to you, by the way that no one has said otherwise about this or that maybe you should do this or that, because no one has said otherwise. This is what I want to share with you. See, according to the good book, there are examples of ones that did just that, where they actually said, this is a good thing, you see. Yet they actually usurped and went ahead and did something that they had no business doing. And God was so displeased with it that in the two accounts that I'm thinking about, one of them was struck with leprosy for the rest of their life, and this person had a high position, and the other one was actually put to death. And so it looked on the surface again that what that person was doing, and see, and I could tell you exactly where the accounts are at, but this will just give you something to look up yourself and to meditate on yourself on how even a good intention in the area that really God has said, look, the same way I gave you this over there, and I don't want nobody touching your stuff, and the gifts that I gave you over here. Well, over in this section, I have this person or this group in this area, you see, who, unless they tell you directly, unless, you see, they vocally tell you directly, you don't assume, you see, you don't presume. Perceptive readers, we will conclude with this in part 3 of Considering Whatever It Takes. See you next time. You have just listened to the Perceptive Readers podcast. Remember, until next time, if you read something that encourages you to improve or enhance your life for the better, it becomes your reality.